Cherinet, you have quite a story. I mean, at your age, you were forced to leave home as a child. Can you describe your path to the United Nations?
Yeah, well, my childhood has been quite full of struggle, and I come from a very humble beginning, where I was fending for myself pretty much majority of my life. And just like me, there are many young kids at the age that they should be taken care of, but somehow not. And that's, especially living in a refugee camp enlightened me that the only way to change the situation that I am in or that others in is by stepping into the role of leadership. And without being in leadership, nothing could potentially change. So I had this childhood drive from when I was a young kid that the only way to change is to challenge the status quo.
Technically, you are the youngest permanent representative at the United Nations, a title that uh, most people who hold it are twice your age. What goes through your mind when you hear those words associated with your name?
There was a lot of doubt when I was first appointed. The main focus was more likely about my age and not my ability, my potential, or my capacity to do my work. The first year was a bit challenging because there was no IGAD mission the first time, so I had to establish everything from scratch, from accreditation to the diplomatic status, and all that kind of took a lot out of me. And also, don't forget, I'm the youngest member of the diplomatic corps, the head of mission, and as a result, there's a lot of responsibility that, of course, some people at my age might not be fortunate enough to have, but I have managed it quite well, I can say. Now I'm in my second year, so that shows I've been very resilient in this role.
Well, tell us about IGAD, what it is, and what its mission is.
Well, IGAD is a large organization representing 8 member states, which are Ethiopia, Eritrea, Sudan, South Sudan, Djibouti, Somalia, and Kenya and Uganda. Its focus is on peace, security, and regional integration. It's a regional economic community of the African Union. And we do quite a lot of work in the communities and on the ground mostly. And this office particularly was established as a result of the long-standing partnership between IGAD and the UN. My job is to represent the interest of my 8 member states and to amplify the voice of IGAD here in the UN.
The African continent has the youngest population in the world, more than 400 million people between the ages of 15 and 35. Do you feel like this population that you are a part of has enough representation politically? And then after that, tell us about some of the challenges, but also some of the hopes for this population that you are a part of.
As we are in New York, let me start by New York. I have been part of this UN system for almost now 5 years, starting from when I was a youth representative here, and I also worked at the Djibouti mission for a while. And one of the gaps that I have seen, especially for people coming from the global south, the African continent, is lack of representation. In these rooms, we tend to see less of African youth. One, because of the visa restrictions of the UN headquarters being in New York. Two, lack of resources and so on. And also just the lack of access to opportunities that these young people face. As you know, especially my region, the IGAD region, more than 70% are people under the age of 35. And I view this as a potential, but also a big challenge because some of our countries are grappling with so many challenges, from conflict to displacement to climate shocks. And all of this are largely who are affected are young people. The ones who are drawn to the conflicts are young people. And also the lack of opportunities. Many of these young boys and girls, youth, normally go to school, graduate, and still have no jobs. I think, also there's a lack of commitment from government to invest in young people. I will tell you, even in my own IGAD region, there's almost no youth ministries. So that's kind of creates a little bit less voice for young people. And I have been encouraging it for a while, including my government in Ethiopia, that, there has to be some form of establishing a youth ministry to strengthen the opportunities for youth and bring more their voice closer to the table.
Because you've already seen both sides of the coin. You're a son of the continent, but now you're here in New York um, on the political side. So, what is the one thing that you think can happen that can realistically that can change this situation in a positive way?
I have attended various meetings in many countries, and one of the things is they talk about young people, but without actually those young people being part of the table and the discussion that is going on. And this is, I think, in my opinion, is not realistic. And I think just meetings after meetings, declaration after declarations, summit after summit doesn't help. In fact, investing into these young people is the most important way. And I think I have seen in many European countries now, many young people taking the position of power. I want to see that in Africa. I want to see more young people. And also sometimes it's the cultural barrier. In our culture, sometimes we tend to see, oh, you're too young, you're not ready for this yet, you are not ready to take on the role of leadership. That also contributes to the idea of leaving young people out. I think there has to be a significant investment into empowering the next generation of leaders. Leadership doesn't have to be passed on from one leader's sons or daughters or family members to another. It has to be inclusive, and investment has to be made into the African youth.
The UN is hosting the ECOSOC Youth Forum here in New York. The UN has a youth affairs office with its own ASG. Talk to us about what your hopes are with this forum and your part in it.
This forum happens every year. I've been part of it now. This is my fifth ECOSOC forum. And it is a great opportunity for many young people who are from various backgrounds to come and offer their solutions and talk about their challenges and try to find a solution to it. But I have a little bit concern and also hope. My concern is just I hope it doesn't end with talking again. I think there has to be a concrete solution, like we had during the Summit of the Future. In terms of the hope, I hope we will have different faces as well this time, and faces that have never had the opportunity to be here, faces that are marginalized, oppressed, and faces that don't have the opportunity to be part for many years. And now finally we can bring people from the indigenous group, from refugee group, from all forms of life in all over the world, and I hope to see them this time.
Permanent Representative Cherinet Hariffo, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Ellie.